What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? This is Cam, your man Cam. It is week 142 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. Clevon, what's going on with you?
Doing fantastic, Cam. How about yourself?
Man, how's the weather breaking up in the Northwest, man? Do I have to bring my ski jacket up there next week?
I would bring it just in case. The weather's
Oh,
been kind of off and on.
oh
Not
my
quite 100% sure what it's going to do. So, yeah,
Oh
just
my
just
goodness.
to be safe,
Oh
I would bring it.
gracious. I'm trying. It's June, man. It's June. I'm trying to see some blue skies, get some fresh air. You talking about I gotta wear a ski jacket up there?
I'm saying it's a possibility. I'm not saying 100% sure, but it could get a little chilly.
My goodness gracious, man. Anyway, we're gonna be doing this live, fans, next year. Next week, we're gonna have a live broadcast. Cleveland and I are gonna be in the same room next week. How
Oh,
about
wow.
that? We're gonna try to see what kind of audience we can drum up, man. Cleveland, you looking forward to it? I
Looking
got a
looking
I got a
big
dinner on the
time
line.
forward to it. And
I
that
got a
can of
dinner.
SpaghettiOs, watching you chow that down. Oh, man. Woo.
Well,
Can't wait to see that.
not really looking forward to that part, but I was looking forward to at least Daniels get some ambiance with us.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. That'll be wonderful.
It is week 142 of the Voice of the Fan show. As I mentioned, what we're going to talk about this week, we're going to talk about round two of the NBA Finals. So, some players are still playing. The NBA Finals are still going on, opposed to what a lot of these other fair weather NBA fans are thinking. We still got the NBA playoffs still going on. We got Julio Jones makes a decision of where he's going. One of the teams actually we talked about last week. And we're gonna see get Cleveland's opinion on that. We got this day in history. As always, fans, we bringing you guys some educational moments, talk about some historical events that happened here in this country, and then we got a lot of fresh topics to talk about. NCAA college football makes an appearance to the show, Cleveland. I'm not sure if you heard, but college football is trying to get some action in mid-June. They tired of being ignored. As always, we start the show off with our number segment, with it being June 10th, 2021, week 142. When you think of the number 10, Clevon, who wore that number best? Or who do you think, who first come to your mind? The number 10.
Well, Cam, being up here in the 206, I'm a little bit conflicted as to who comes to mind first. I'm watching the Atlanta Hawks and what they've been able to do in the playoffs. So, Mr. Sonic, Nate McMillan certainly comes to mind. And then at the same time, I'm watching four-time WNBA champion Sue Bird kind of go off into the sunset in a real, on a real nice ride. So
Oh, boy.
both of those players come to mind. Who wore it the best, in my opinion, is the great soccer player from Brazil, Pele.
Oh, yeah, I don't think there's much argument there. What do you, has Sue Bird announced that this is it for her?
No, not at all. I mean, she may play 3-4 more years. I'm just saying she's already a four-time WNBA champion. Believe a three-time gold medalist. So, I mean, she's just kind of adding to the treasure chest at this point. But I think she's certainly given herself that status of, quite possibly in the GOAT conversation.
Okay, well, yeah, she's very well in the go conversation. So a person that comes to my mind is a kind of new guy on the scene, actually, and that's a quarterback for your Los Angeles Chargers, Mr. Justin Herbert.
Oh, yeah.
Does he wear it the best? Not quite yet. He's way too
No,
young in the game.
no.
But
Mhm.
first come to my mind, that was
Okay.
Mr. Justin Herbert, Mr. SoCal, Mr. Oregon, and SoCal himself. So you got a lot of reasons to hate on Justin, but
A lot. Yes.
yeah, he's gonna show you who he is. In fact, if you haven't seen it by now, and then probably the guy who wore it the best, man. Yeah, who can argue with the soccer great? But if you want to keep it here in the states, that guy you like to call him Mr. UTEP two step, Tim Hardaway, who he had a coddle his son last week and kind of put his son in the car and drive him home after they took a spanking to the Los Angeles Clippers
Hmm.
in Game
Hmm.
7. So
Right.
Tim Hardaway and the number 42. I mean, we could go any different directions here with it being week 142. Who wore the number 42 best, or who come to your mind first?
Considering the platform, Cam, the answer is the same for both, and that would be Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, I don't know if Ronnie Lott is calling, she's dialing your number yet, but Jackie Robinson is about right. I was looking for you to say Vin Baker, maybe.
No, would never say that.
Oh, okay. Just to clarify. Mr. Clevon, we got some NBA still going on, man. I'm not sure how much NBA you're watching, being that your team was abruptly eliminated from the playoff contention here recently. You didn't want to talk about it last week. Do you want to get a postpartum about your team and kind of what you saw from them scrubs this season? I mean, that team this season.
Sure, Cam. I will definitely do the postpartum. Now that the Lakers are not in contention to win another championship, back-to-back championships.
We knew that.
As we have
discussed.
Going into the excuse year, me, may I speak? Okay, thanks. So as we discussed many times on this show, it was a condensed season for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh boy!
It resulted in a lot of injuries down the stretch. They were not able to put their full team on the court at critical moments, and unfortunately, it cost them. They were exposed with regards to some of their role players. They didn't really play their roles very well. The godfather of the Lakers has gone on record, and for you guys that don't know who the godfather is, that's Irvin Magic Johnson. And he said, yeah, that dude from Germany, that point guard, yeah, we don't really need him. We don't really want that dude back. He's not really a Laker. And so, yeah, we'll start there. So they'll have some changes at the point guard position. They'll regroup. They'll assess what happened here. But let's be honest, Cam. It was a condensed season. They weren't healthy when it came time to be healthy, and the role players let them down. So that's what happened. And the basketball gods have spoken. The Western Conference is unforgiving. They don't care what's going on with you personally, injury wise, and whoever is the best team at the time will take advantage of it. Seize the moment. And the Phoenix Suns certainly did. And it looks like they will be representing the Western Conference in the NBA Finals, from what I'm seeing.
Ain't this nothing? Ain't this nothing? So let's back up. So you guys were hell-bent on making some changes. Obviously, you didn't like the team that kind of showed up in the bubble, if you will. That that experiment that was down south that kind of forced the NBA, forced everybody to come back and play a condensed version of the playoffs, a kind of weird and odd version of the playoffs that they were forced to play. That the Lakers pulled out a W. Now you're gonna complain about you didn't complain about the situation when you won the championship, but now you want to complain about the situation as it goes forward. You guys not able to win the championship. You want to talk about?
No, not complaining, Cam.
That's what I hear.
I am just saying it was a contributing factor to why things did not, unfold the way that they should have or could have. Let me say.
Okay. So
basketball gods have their hand in this as well, and they decided that it was time for LeBron to get a little bit more rest and kind of reassess the way the Lakers are looking going forward, and it just happens sooner than later.
So why are they tinkering with the roster, man? You guys won a championship. Why not run it back with your squad? Why you
not
guys
satisfied, Cam? You can't ever be satisfied in the Western Conference, and losing in the first round certainly shows that. It lost to a team that had no playoff experience. Ultimately a little bit from Chris Paul, here and there, but nothing like championship pedigree. So,
but if you were so good to win an NBA championship, why not?
Well, Cam, they weren't healthy. Okay, Cam, they weren't healthy. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope wasn't healthy. Anthony Davis wasn't healthy. Kyle Kuzma wasn't mentally healthy. So they weren't healthy. They weren't healthy in a lot of respects.
Now the guy's not mentally healthy. Now he was mentally strong enough to get it done. Ain't this something? And you guys are a bunch of turncoats in that purple and gold. Bunch of turncoats.
Who's turned away? I'm just trying to let you know what happened. You asked me to evaluate what happened with regards to the Lakers not still being in the playoffs and not being in contention to go back-to-back NBA champions. That's what happened.
Okay, well, in all these years, I'm ashamed. You guys ought to be ashamed of yourself, actually. You guys ought to be ashamed of yourself. Because where's Dwight Howard at? Where's he at?
He's in Philadelphia. Quite
Are they?
possibly might, get
Where
to
are
the
they
Eastern
in the
Conference
playoffs?
Finals.
Oh, really? Where's JaVale McGee? Where's he at?
I believe he's over there in Denver. He's getting some minutes here and there.
Okay. So those are two contributors that you guys just decided to let go. So everybody you let go actually is in the
We
second
didn't
round of the
decide to
playoffs.
let them go. They were free agents
Everybody.
and decided to pursue greener pastures in other locations. That's not something the Lakers have control over.
Oh, they couldn't make him an offer. They couldn't make an offer to
They
keep him
did
on the
make them
squad.
offers. They made them very generous offers, and they both said no.
Okay. Well, the way if I was treated that same way that they were treated, I might have said no. Let me go figure something else out myself, because when you don't talk to them, whether it be the Godfather, whether it be the great uncle, whether it be number 23 or number 6, I don't even know what number he's wearing these days. But whether it be that
It's
guy
number
who,
6 next season. It will be number
yeah,
6 next season.
okay. Fine.
Would
Why
have been
not?
6 last season, but Nike threw a fit and said, "Hey, man, we've already printed all these, so you can't do it."
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got as much money as God. Buy those jerseys back. If that's what you really
Okay, well,
want to do.
let's not get into the LeBron James bank account. I mean, why are we doing that? We're talking about playoff
Yeah.
basketball, right?
Oh yeah, we're talking about playoff.
Yeah,
Let's
why
not
get
talk
all
about
into his bank account? What he
let's not
should and shouldn't be doing with his money?
let's not talk about those guys no more. We're talking
Yeah,
about NBA playoffs. What's
yeah.
going on today? That's right.
Let's do
So
that.
let's talk about Nikola Jokic becomes the first second round draft pick to win the MVP. That's pretty impressive. Well, we were in agreement that he would win the MVP, and he finally announced. What's your thoughts on that?
Congratulations to him. He had a fantastic season. The only player that was even close was Joel Embiid. He missed a ton of games. The Joker did not miss a ton of games, and I think he's well deserved of the award.
Yeah, well deserving of the award. They may be running up into a little stiffer competition than expected here in the second round, but yeah, it's a well deserved award for him, and kudos to him. Um, Rudy Gobert wins the Defensive Player of the Year award. This is his third year out of 4 seasons winning this award. It's a little far cry from when he was whining and crying about not winning the award a few years ago, right?
No, he was not whining and crying about not winning the Defensive Player of the Year award. He was whining and crying about not being an All-Star, given the fact that he was the Defensive Player of the Year so many times. So, yeah, it's great to see him do it again. We just witnessed Ben Wallace getting into the Hall of Fame with 4 Defensive Player of the Years. So, Rudy Gobert having 3, I think he's well on his way to the Hall. Isn't that what we're trying to say here, Cam?
Oh my goodness! Did you just? Oh my goodness! So you got Rudy Gobert as a Hall of Famer already?
Well, I mean, we've seen the precedents. Ben Wallace being the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, getting in the Hall of Fame with 1 championship. I mean, Rudy Gobert is what 26, 27 years old. He's already
I
got
guess
3.
I guess it is the NBA. I mean, they put everybody in the
It's a
Hall of
little
Fame.
easier. It's a little easier
They
than the
put
other
it.
sports
I
for
mean,
sure.
if I get a run on the court, maybe I'm gonna try out for the Clippers, and I can have a Hall of Fame career still. If I can get a couple good seasons in, I mean, they put everybody in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So
I
let's
didn't want to say that out loud, but it is a little liberal.
yeah, thank you. So we'll leave it at that. And for you to kind of put Rudy Gobert already in the same breath as Ben Wallace, I mean, somebody else, one of my guys from the HN Hoops and Brews. Well, I got to give a shout out to those guys, Pavi and TPJ from Hoops and Brews. Pavi would just love that comment. You already got him in the Hall of Fame. He's drooling already. He's drooling already. But let's talk about how these series are going. The Sixers looks like they swept the Wizards last week, and now they're tied 1-1 in the Hawks with the Hawks. Have the Hawks surprised you in what they're doing so far in the playoffs and
The
in
Hawks
this series?
haven't surprised me, Cam. They've surprised everybody. They shouldn't be here. They shouldn't have went to the number 1 seed's house and got the first game. Trae Young shouldn't be playing this well in his first playoff appearance. Yeah, they surprised me, and they're surprising everybody.
Well, I did have them in the playoffs. I
You
did.
didn't have them in the playoffs. You
I
certainly
didn't.
did not have them winning the first round series, and you certainly didn't have them going to the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference and getting the first game, slapping those guys around. You
Well,
didn't foresee that.
I didn't foresee him smacking Doc Rivers and the 76ers around. Yes, you're absolutely correct about that. But I had them going in the playoffs, meaning that they were going to be playing well enough to get to the playoffs. And who knows, once you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. And we're showing that they're a live dog. They're a live dog. They have a lot of talent. And kudos to Nate McMillan, the aforementioned Nate McMillan, for having these guys ready. If I go back and his record has to be something like 40-12 since he's taken over the team, man. Because
Quite impressive. Yeah,
they play great basketball. If he was with his team all season, he'd be in that category for coach of the year. So they play great ball for him, and they go about too deep at every position, and that makes them very formidable because they can just keep throwing bodies and bodies at the team. And let's be logical. They did play the New York Knicks, who the New York Knicks for most of the season played over their skis. We'd agree at that. So when they saw a team as formidable as Hawks playing, that was a winnable series for the Hawks. We'll say that, and they went ahead and won. They showed what they can do and won the game. Trae Young, did you expect to? I'll be the first person to say I didn't expect Trae Young to be able to do what he's doing when he came into the league. I just didn't expect it. I remember talking to Reggie Miller a couple of years ago, and he told me he can do the same thing that Steph Curry does, and I was blown away by that when Reggie said that. But you had to kind of take notice when Reggie, who knows his basketball, will kind of put him in that same category. You kind of have to take notice, and then when you look back at it, it says, okay, Reggie was right because he's doing what he's doing. He's doing that right and having kind of a similar impact on the team. Obviously, nobody can runs around and create some buckets that Steph Curry does, but he's having a similar impact in the way that, number one, they're winning. Number two, that he's getting his shot off and he's getting assists. You got to give him credit for that.
Oh, absolutely. No one saw this coming. No one saw that Trae Young's first soiree into the playoffs would be this significant and that he would be that dominant. As we had discussed the last series, I predicted that the Atlanta Hawks would win because I predicted that Trae Young would be the best player on the court. I certainly did not expect him to show out like that and have the type of confidence to go into Madison Square Garden and put on that villain cape and wear it quite nicely and just take them out like a villain is supposed to do. It's very similar to the way I didn't expect D Book to be just such a cold-blooded assassin. I mean, he's had a few off games, but when it came time to turn it on, and certainly in this second series with Denver, he's just like, man, I'm not that dude. I'm nothing to play with, and he's definitely established that. But Trae Young has done it in a much different way, really kind of embracing the villain role and flourishing in it. So getting that first game in Philadelphia was crazy. Although it was also crazy the way that Philadelphia came back and kind of brought things back into perspective a little bit. Games 3 and 4 should be extremely interesting, but no, Trae has definitely exceeded expectations by anybody's account.
Okay, so let's talk. The next series we would talk about is the Nets, how they smacked around. They moved on to round 2. They smacked around the Celtics and caused wholesale changes within the Celtics organization that we're going to get to later. But they smacked those guys around, and the Nets is 2-0 up on the Bucks, smacking those guys around after the Bucks sweep the Heat. Now, although the Bucks right now they're on ESPN trying to make a comeback, a decent showing of themselves here in the playoffs. They're up 2 points and they're playing good physical defense against the Nets tonight. However, the Nets swept the Celtics as I mentioned, and the Bucks dispatched the Heat. What do you think of the Nets Bucks series, and do the Nets have a chance to come back and make this a competition, or have we seen the last of the Bucks?
Well, Cam, I really actually don't want to talk about this series.
I know you don't.
Because of the way that you've gone on record saying that the Brooklyn Nets were so great and
what did I tell you?
And would sweep through the playoffs. You let me finish, Cam.
I told you they they'll probably lose one game.
You interrupted me.
And I think I said two. But okay, go ahead. I know you don't want to talk about them. The floor is yours, sir.
You have forced my hand. I have to talk about them because it is one of the topics of the. Look at you! Look at you! Look at you! Get now excited and just eagerly anticipate what I'm going to say because you know what I got to say. Because you know what I got to say.
I got the sticky note is ready to go.
Because you know what I got to say.
I'm ready to go on the sticky note. You don't say it. Don't say it. I'm ready to go.
They did not sweep through the playoffs like you said they would.
They lost one game so far. They won game.
However, you let me finish, Ken. You interrupted me. However, they probably won't lose another game, man. They look really. They somehow have figured out how to make it all about basketball. And when you make it all about basketball and you roll out the basketball with that team, they cannot be stopped. Certainly not in the Eastern Conference. And there's really no resistance. And the only team that's going to come up against them is going to be the Phoenix Suns. Is going to be the best team to play them.
Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you got the Phoenix Suns in the NBA Finals.
Phoenix Suns are in the NBA Finals. But back to the Eastern Conference. I'm not really comfortable with. I'm comfortable with the numbers that Joel is putting up. I'm not comfortable with the fact he's putting those numbers up with a torn meniscus. So I don't know what Philly can offer them. I know Milwaukee can't offer them anything. So they're doing this without James. They're doing this without James Harden. Imagine what they would be doing if James Harden was on the court.
There's the point I wanted to make. I wanted to make sure you were completely aware of
aware.
They're doing this with on 4 cylinders, not 6 cylinders.
If you go up by 50 in a playoff game without arguably your second best player, and I don't care which one you think is 1, 2, or 3.
So somebody could say their best player,
your second best player in the lineup. That's a problem, man. That's a problem. You go home to Milwaukee and see what you can do, but I don't feel confident you guys can do much.
Milwaukee looks like they're trying to do something. They're trying to put up a fight right now. It's 60. We got this good old Eastern Conference basketball game. It's 69-65, starting the fourth quarter in Milwaukee. And,
okay, cool.
So they're trying to
dirty it up, man. Try and make it physical. Try and do the best you can.
That's exactly. Tucker, since we've been sitting down, Giannis pulls a 3 and it's off. Tucker, since we've been sitting down in the second half, has already went forehead to forehead with Kevin Durant, screaming at his players to try to get these guys playing. To close the third quarter, they got a block shot and a 24 shot.
Make it not about basketball, Cam. That's the best they can do is make it not about basketball, because if it's just about basketball.
Yeah, if it's about Joe Harris shooting threes and about your boy Kyrie Irving getting to the bucket as he just did, I mean, yeah, the league. Oh my goodness, Kyrie just. Oh my goodness, Holiday's looking for his draws. Holiday's trying to pull up his draws right now on the court. It's incredible. Oh my goodness. So yeah, the Brooklyn Nets just went up 70-69 again with 10 minutes to go in the.
See how quick that was, man. Cam, what was it, like 30 seconds we were talking, and it's already
10 minutes to go. 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. But yeah, it's I'm glad. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, sir. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Game recognized game, Cam. Okay. I could be that guy and just be salty the whole time, but.
I thought you were going to come out and say the Bucks are going to tie this season, series up. I thought you were going to give me something like that. I'm proud of you. I'm cheers to you, Clevon. Cheers to you.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No resistance over there. 0.
Okay. All right. Clear. Cheers to you, buddy. So let's talk about the Jazz beat up the Grizzlies. And we're going to get to the Grizzlies, and we're going to talk about the Grizzlies and kind of what they need to do moving forward. But the Jazz beat up the Grizzlies, and the Clippers eliminated Luka. We're going to talk about Luka here in a second as well. But the Jazz, what did you think of Game 1 with the Jazz and Rudy Gobert showing why he's actually the Defensive Player of the Year?
Well,
hold on.
Kind of watching.
Let me ask this question. Let me frame this question. Was that, and we'll just look at the ending of the game then. Was that good defense or bad offense? How'd you see that?
No, that's good defense. I mean, the Clippers certainly can run their offense. I mean, they have enough pieces in place, and certainly they have a guy number 2 that can turn it up to a different level. So sorry. The question is if and when. The question is not. It's not whether or not he's capable of doing it. The question is simply if and when. So,
look like you had some revelations over this last week.
I have. It's not that I've had revelation. That's why I love NBA playoffs, because it's not about what I think. It's about what you're going to do. If you do it, then man, welcome. I completely acknowledge and see it. Whether I think you're going to do it or not, that's a different story. But when you do it, then you did it, right? Lean back, Luka was killing him.
Okay.
They had not won a game at home
until it really mattered.
7.
Until it really mattered.
And all of the games that the Clippers played, what was Kawhi averaging? 70% from the field?
Ooh,
and his shots are an average of 16 or 17 feet away.
Oh, Clevon is doing his homework.
Yeah. So when Kawhi plays perfect, they're gonna win. Can he play perfect every game? I don't know. That's kind of hard to do, to play perfect. But when he does, they don't lose, right?
You didn't mention Paul George having 7 consecutive 20 plus.
I'm not mentioning Paul George. The other player I will mention on that team is Mr. Morris hitting them corner threes, because that was real timely. That was huge.
That was a record. He set a record.
Rest of your squad, I ain't got really too much to say about him, Cam.
Hold on. Let's just be specific. Marcus Morris Sr. actually, his 7 threes were a playoff record, a Game 7 record actually. Okay. He tied the great Steph Curry with 7 3-pointers.
There you go.
In a Game 7,
and they absolutely needed it.
They need every one of them, and then you can't ignore Paul George. Paul George had 20.
No Paul George.
Listen, you gotta listen. 7 consecutive games of 20 points or more. 7. What? That's consistency.
We're not talking about Paul George. We're not talking about Pretty Boy Paul. We're not talking about PG-13.
You don't want to talk about consistency.
No, he was real in and out. He was real in and out.
20 points a game for 7 straight games? That's in and out? What are you talking about? Why don't you want to talk about consistency?
I don't know. We've already made the comparison. He is the Chris Webber of his generation. So he doesn't really covet the spotlight in the moment. So fortunately, he has someone that shoots 70% from the field and will do whatever it takes to win a game. Because it's not Paul George.
Okay, all right. So where do you see, who do you have winning this series, the Jazz and the Clippers? The Jazz were up. They won that game.
Well, hey, man, it really should be the Clippers, right? Because they've been extremely fortunate that they're playing a team at home, on the road at their home without their starting point guard for the first 2 games. So if they don't get a split, that's horrible, man.
Yeah, they need to get a split. But they played them. They played that team. The game obviously went down to the final bucket. It was a 3-point game in the minute, and then Paul George, as you don't want to talk about it, we don't want to say a no-show, but he really didn't do anything in the stat book, right? So with a 3-point game and your second star really has little impact in the game, you kind of should the Clippers be excited about this turnaround, about this opportunity, or should the Jazz be more comfortable? Who should be more comfortable going into Game 2 tonight?
The Jazz should be more comfortable going into Game 2. There's no reason that the Clippers should have lost a game to a team without their starting point guard. We'll get into this a little bit later with regards to some comments made by a player from the Pacific Northwest with regards to losing to a team without their starting players. So this is no different, man. Okay. Clippers should have got that first one. If they don't get this second one, it's embarrassing for them, and the narrative will change dramatically as into, Kawhi, it's time to be perfect again. Let's see it.
But he's proven that he can do it. He's proven he can do it. He's proven he can do it.
He can and will do it.
There you go. So the Suns and the Lakers. We talked about the postpartum already, but the son sent them home fishing. Where did they go on vacation? Where'd you guys choose to go?
Barbados.
Barbados. Okay, all right, not a bad place to go. Right, it's always hot. The white sand
There you
beach out
go.
there.
There you go. You
Okay,
understand. You
all right,
understand.
not a bad place. So now the Suns are up 2-0 on the Nuggets. Excuse me. Yeah, they're up 2-0 on the Nuggets. I got that right. Um, no, that's not right. They're not up 2-0 on the Nuggets. The Suns are up 2-0. I'm having a brain fart of who they're playing. The Nuggets are playing the Portland Trailblazers, or the
No, no,
Nuggets.
no, no, no. The Nuggets beat the Portland Trailblazers. They're
Nuggets
playing the
beat the
Phoenix Suns in the
yeah.
second round, and
Okay,
the
so
Phoenix Suns are up 2-0.
they're 2-2. No, it's not 2-2, but they're 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah. Can Nuggets come back in this one, or do
No.
I mean the Nuggets? The coach yesterday, Mike Malone said essentially the team quit. He said they tapped out. Um, I wasn't able to watch the game last night, so I can't give you very little commentary. I did see the first couple games, or the first game anyway. Do they tap out? Are they done? Can the Nuggets win a game here with the league's MVP?
They can get a game, and probably the game that they're going to get is game 3. Just understanding how teams fare in the 3-0 deficit. That's the game they have the best opportunity to get. Did they tap out? They were probably mentally exhausted from trying to fight off that Dragon logo Lillard last series and just barely were able to do that. And then they come into this series realizing that they are undermanned without their starting point guard or shooting guard. And then also realizing that D Book, a cat named Devin Booker, has stepped into the playoffs with a real sense of authority and a real sense of I am not effing around with you guys, and it's time for you to swear me in. I'm a main guy in this league.
He said swear him in.
It's time for him to swear him in.
So let's talk about D Book for a minute. Going back to last season in the bubble. Now I've heard it's funny. I wish you could be a part of some of these conversations that I've had in the last. Today's Thursday. In the last 3 days, I've been told that the bubble didn't matter. Whatever happened in the bubble stays in the bubble. It didn't matter. Proof is what the Lakers has done this season, what the Miami Heat has done this season, and then Devin Booker. And I'm saying, in contrary to that, okay, if those two teams didn't matter, what happened in the bubble? What about Devin Booker and what they done? They went 8-0 in the bubble, and just barely because Lillard went 8-1. Did they keep Phoenix Suns out of the bubble competition? Correct. So
Correct.
I thought. Well, I love what Chris Paul has done. I like. Not a huge fan of Chris Paul per se, but I love his play on the court. If you look up quintessential point guard in the dictionary, you should see a picture of Chris Paul and what he's done to that team. What he's done for that team, kind of making sure that everybody gets in the right position, coaching up and mentoring DeAndre Ayton, and allowing Devin Booker to flourish even more, helping him to flourish even more. I really love that combination of what he's done. Not to mention the head coaching of Monty Williams and the relationship that Monty Williams and Chris Paul had from when they were in New Orleans, when the Hornets. So it's kind of a reunion for those guys, and not to mention now they have quality talent on their team in the way of Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Dario Saric, Jay Crawford. They have a lot of pieces on that squad that kind of highlight and emphasize just pieces that fit, and they work and they mesh well with each other, right? They have the quintessential 1 through 5 player. We talk about the basketball where basketball has come really positionless basketball in a lot of ways over the past couple of years. They have the traditional 1 through 5 player, a point guard, a shooting guard, a small forward, a power forward, and a center, a legitimate center. And we see how that really works, right, on the court. Good coaching, the coaching and camaraderie works. I'm still questioning, maybe we'll get back to it later, but that conversation I had with the GM, and he tells me the GM the NFL GM, and he tells me that continuity is no concern of his. I have to get that verified somewhere, from somewhere else in some other way, to see if I have a reason to question that sentiment, or was he right, and I need to follow that sentiment. I need to get that clarified. But with their play, the Phoenix Suns tell me that symmetry matters, and the union between the coach and the players matters. That's what this tells me. The way that the Suns are playing, and so I wonder though if the Suns have too much, if all the confidence they have, can they finish this series out against the Nuggets? And I mean, they're going to have to play the Clippers the next round, and I don't see them beating the Clippers, although they have a better record against the Clippers this season. Is going to be very touchy. And can these players then stand up when nobody on that team has been in the Western Conference Finals before? So that's going to be a whole new scenario and a whole new set of pressures that they must contend with. So I want to say kudos to these Suns for doing what they're doing, but do we not see the Nuggets come back at all? Do we not see the league MVP come back and without their best player, without one of their best players, do we not see them make any noise at all in this series?
No, Cam, this series is over. And it really kind of comes down to, I mean, of course, the focal point is D Book and what he's been able to do, and how he's kind of kicked into the door, waving the 4-4, like real serious. So that's first and foremost. Chris Paul giving them that continuity and that leadership and that guidance, that's important. This will come down to two players. The most annoying player in the playoffs at this point has been a cat named Cameron Payne, man. He comes off the bench. He does not miss any shots. He D's up everybody. In the Lakers series, I have to own up. I have to confess. I was just like, man, will this guy please miss a shot, man? Like he just timely jumpers, man. And he's just that glue that holds them together. And then secondly, which is kind of a two-part thing. One, you mentioned Monty Williams and the relationship that he has with the players, and how much they trust him and respect him for all that he's been through and all that he gives to them. But in addition, the way that he's been able to utilize DeAndre Ayton and not try and make him something that he is not, which we discussed before. He's not going to shoot threes. He's not going to take you off the dribble. But if he's roaming around in the paint 5 to 10 feet, whether it's on the offensive side or the defensive side of the ball, you have a problem with that.
Why not
he's
let him
young and agile and athletic, man, and he's finally bringing it all together in those 20 and 10s. They just start to add up after a while.
Let him do what he do. You don't need to make the player, even and this is what I have to admire this in the game, in the way the game has morphed into a lot of 3-point shooting and points in the paint. Let him do what he does. Don't try to turn him into a 3-point shooter. Don't tell him to move out and we need you be a stretch 5 and open up the floor. Let him control the paint. Let him get rebounds. Let him play tough down low. Let him get that under his belt. Let him be dominant down there before you start saying, okay, if you pull your game outside a little bit, now we can drive to the hole. No, save that. Save that for somebody else.
Save that.
Yeah, let him do what he does, and that's another good point. That's another good point from you on the coaching of Monty Williams, another feather in his cap. But let me go back to this. When somebody says the bubble doesn't matter, clearly you have a different impression because your team won a championship in the bubble. But does that bubble count to you? Is the playoff performance? Is that you're telling me you don't want to hear anything about Paul George? Is that because of his performance in the bubble?
Certainly, the bubble was a unique experience for everyone, and everybody had to adapt on the fly and kind of try and figure things out. Maybe it was a little bit more of a challenge and an obstacle for other players and other teams. But to discredit what happened in the bubble is, that's not fair to the teams that were successful within the bubble environment. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, some people got homesick. Yeah, nobody wants to be in Orlando for 5 months. Yeah, you're just around the same dudes and you can't go nowhere. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was the whole world, man. Why are you trying to make this so specific with regards to how teams respond and how they didn't respond to that? So, yeah, I think that the bubble and what they were able to do is significant. How it translated outside of the bubble, again, not to be biased, but on the Lakers side, it was really more injury related. I was really more disappointed in how the Miami Heat showed up. I really expected
with
them
this
to
season.
be the 2020 in the bubble defense in your face, and we'll hit some timely jumpers, and we'll just see how you guys respond to it.
So
And they were never ever able the entire season to turn it back on.
let's talk about this. Let's just elaborate. I don't think we really had a deep bubble conversation. So when you say the way the Miami Heat showed up, so let me give you my opinion of the bubble. And I said this after LeBron and they won a championship. I credit LeBron for being a team leader, and that was the best leadership I've seen from him in his career by gathering these guys together. Nobody, if it's true, and we got to take the players at their word. Nobody wants to Nobody wants to stay in Orlando. Nobody wants to see the same face, sleep in the same bed for the 3 months. See the same people. You see the team you just beat 5 hours earlier. You're in the same elevator as these guys. It's a unique experience. But LeBron, with his gathering the guys to play video games, playing board games, having card games, just unifying the team, building that extra camaraderie to get everybody bought in to what we're trying to do here, guys. I mentioned this at the time it happened. Hey, I'm leaving my masseuse. I'm leaving my masseuse at home. I'm not bringing in my cook. I'm just like you guys. I'm here. I don't want to be here no more than you guys want to be here. But there's a championship at hand. We're 3 months away from winning the NBA Finals championship. Let's focus in on what these 120 days or these 90 days, excuse me. Let's focus in on these days and let's get this. Let's just stay zeroed in. And at the end of these 90 days, we'll walk away with a championship. Let's do that. That was the best job. The best job I've seen him do is leadership in his years of playing, in all his years of playing basketball. So I give him credit for that. So you can't ignore that. However, I think if all you have to do is fucking play basketball, there's no travel involved. You guys still getting in some of the best meals in town. You guys aren't sleeping. We're not talking about you're sleeping in a fucking Motel 6. We're not talking about you're sleeping in a Red Roof Inn. You're in a 5-star hotel, getting 5-star food. You have the team masseuse. Okay, you have to get used to the team masseuse and not your personal masseuse. Oh, what? Come on, guys. Are we that sensitive? I mean, this isn't a Deshaun Watson situation where he can't call somebody in to get the late night rub down. You still getting the masseuses that you need, right? You still getting the care and the health. You're still getting, what am I saying? What am I trying to say? You're still getting the attention that you need to focus on your body and focus on your health. Games were played every other day, so you just develop that routine. Was it that fucking hard? Maybe
Well,
I'm wrong.
I
Maybe I
think
have a
you.
problem.
No, I think you alluded to it right there. Is that the teams that showed stronger leadership and had more of an alpha dog? Now that you're kind of alluding to it, either one of those two factors were the teams that were kind of in the Final Four. And so what it came down to, from a retrospective perspective, is that those other teams, they did need those things. And without those things and without those amenities and without being superstars and being so far away from your family, it just, you weren't able to respond in the same way, and you didn't have that leadership that kind of brought you guys all in and said, hey, we're all in this together and this is what we're trying to do. I mean, Kawhi Leonard, he will he will go perfect in a game. He's not going to pull you guys all together and have pizza with you guys. He's going to get out on the floor and do what he does, and then he's going to go to his room and don't talk to him until it's time to get back to the court for practice. So, I mean, I'm not saying that everyone has to have that type of domineering personality and that's why the teams were 100% successful in the bubble as they were. But I do think that was a contributing factor that gets overlooked, man. And you know, and a lot of those teams are also
not to cut you off. No, hold that thought. It's 80-80, 130 left to go in the game. 80-80, 130 left to go in the fourth quarter. Brooklyn has the ball. KD pulls up from three, and it's good. The Brooklyn Nets take the lead, 83-80, with a minute 23 as the Milwaukee Bucks call a timeout with a minute and a half to go. I mean, less than a minute and a half to go. I just wanted to give that quick update.
Gotcha.
Go ahead.
And in addition, you know, those teams were a little bit more youthful, hadn't been there before. And again, this was a unique experience for everybody. It just really kind of came down to how you responded to it. And there's no criticism for how anyone responded to it. I mean, you know, some people are just going to take it differently. And, you know, those aforementioned teams are just able to, you know, kind of, you know, round up the cavalry and be a little bit better about it. But I mean, there's no, you know, consequence to that. I mean, that's just what they were able to do.
So again, over the past 3 days, I heard that the bubble doesn't matter. The bubble, what happened in the bubble, didn't count. But then I have to point out to what the Phoenix Suns were able to do in the bubble, and where people want to give Chris Paul MVP consideration. Well, I look back at last year and say they were a pretty damn good team last year because of what they did when they were able to kind of focus and come together and focus on things. They went 8-0 in the bubble. So adding Chris Paul to this team obviously is a great addition, but we can't say I can't look at their total season of what it was. I think it's 39-43, and now add Chris Paul to the mix, and now they're 55. They win 55 games. I can't give that completely 100% to Chris Paul joining the squad because they were a good team when they were able to focus together without him. And we saw that evidence. And adding him to the team obviously makes them a better team. But I can't give it all to 100% Chris Paul. If anything, I give that more so to Monty Williams. Nonetheless, it was just some of the conversations I've had with people who know basketball over the last couple of days. And then when you speak of Kawhi Leonard, this is something else I was told. That was where you've heard me say, and you heard me be frustrated that why Kawhi Leonard, what he is not, is a leader. He's not a leader. We know that, and it was proven. However, I was told, well, why even you know that about him? Why ask him to be the leader if you already know that about him? Well, don't look that direction for leadership if you know this guy's not going to give it to you. They have to look elsewhere. And then you heard me talk about when Rondo joined the team. Within 3 days, they threw him the keys to the car. Like that shows that showed me a sign of weakness. It still does. And if I can get somebody in off camera to talk to me about that, I'm gonna address that situation. Like, yo, within 3 freaking days, you guys just told it. Here's the keys to the car, bro. Like, this guy ain't been nowhere. He ain't been through none of the heartache, none of the pain. But you just want to say, hey, get it off my shoulders. Here, it's all on you. I couldn't understand that. And again, my short-sightedness, I don't know what you call it. You know, I didn't make it to the level that these guys are performing in. But somebody walks in the locker room in 3 days, dude. You have to earn us. You have to earn our trust. You have to earn our respect. I know who you are. I'm not disrespecting you. But yet and still, this is a different situation that you're going to have to earn that. You're going to have to earn the opportunity to sit in the driver's seat. You just don't get that coming in off the street. Like,
so in other words, Cam, he's not walking into the Detroit Pistons locker room in 1987 and just being the leader of the pack, right? He's just not walking into a squad that's had strong leadership in the past and has an accomplishment to make. Yeah. It just shows that they didn't want the responsibility. You're saying the same thing about Kawhi that I've been saying why Carmelo Anthony is one of the most underappreciated basketball players of all time.
Wait, how do you put Kawhi and Carmelo in the same conversation, Clevon? You can't do
Because
this.
they're in the
You can't do this.
conversation for the same reason. You expect him to do things he is not going to do. Carmelo Anthony is not going to play defense. He's not going to be your role model. He's not going to rebound. He's going to show up at the basketball court and put 28 points a game up. That's all he said he was going to do. That's all that you should expect of him. When you have all these other expectations of him, it just makes him think that he should be something that he's not capable of being.
Wow,
Same thing with Kawhi Leonard. You give him the franchise tag, but you know he's not really a franchise player in that respect. He has franchise talent, but all the other ancillary things that go into being a franchise player, he's not really wanting to do any of that. He has commercials where he has commercials, Cam, where he does not say a single word, man. Come on, what kind of pitch man is that?
You just put Kawhi Leonard and Carmelo Anthony in the same scope, in the same bubble.
As misunderstood NBA basketball players that unfortunately people put unrealistic expectations upon. Kawhi Leonard's not a leader. He will come out there and play perfect for you, though.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
If you leave him alone and don't ask him to do all those other things, yeah, he'll come out and hit you for 70% from the field.
The Bucks are going to get a win. The Nets missed their final shot, 83-84, 2.8 seconds to go. The fans are going crazy at the Pfizer Forum. Oh, man, guys are taking off their shirts, their chest bumping on the stand in the sidelines. Looks like Bruce Brown missed a shot with a couple seconds to go in the game. We got young and old fans hugging. I don't know who this is with the fat goat chains on the sidelines, cheering and chest bumping fans. But it looks like the Bucks are going to get a W here. Their first W.
So I was incorrect, Cam. Maybe I spoke too soon. I thought these guys were making it all about basketball. Wow. Now all of a sudden it gets into all those other things, Cam. We got a different story now.
You jinxed them. You jinxed them.
Mid-podcast. We have to flip the script, man.
You jinxed them. You jinxed them.
Mid-podcast.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, Brooklyn's not all that, man.
Oh, Kyrie gets the ball. Oh, and here we go. Bruce Brown driving to the hoop. And, he might have got fouled there. But Kyrie, what are you doing, Kyrie? Kyrie got the ball, throws it to Bruce Brown, throws it in desperation. Bruce Brown gets a lefty layup that he missed. And here Chris Middleton goes to the free throw line, and he hits his 34th point of the game. Chris Middleton steps up at home with 2.1 seconds on the clock. The Milwaukee Bucks are up 2. There's a timeout that Brooklyn has it, so they're going to call a timeout, no question here. They call a timeout, 2.1 on the clock. We see we see PJ Tucker throw Blake Griffin to the ground as the ball goes through the net. No foul was called, and it's crazy. The fans in Milwaukee can't believe they got to win themselves. They're grabbing each other's shirts, shaking each other like the child shaking syndrome. They can't believe they got to win. They're in position to win. Let's say that. The Bucks hit a 3-pointer here, goes into overtime.
Well, I guess the Brooklyn Nets not who I thought they were.
Oh boy,
they've fallen back into their own heads. I mean, wow. How did they not beat the Milwaukee Bucks after being up on them by 50? Wow. See now the media's gonna get into them. And now they're going to start reading.
I told you they might.
And now they're going to start reading press, and they're going to start, getting internal. Like, what's wrong with me? Why don't they like me? And now it's not about basketball anymore. See, now it's about you as a person. It's like, wow.
Clevon, stop it.
And Giannis is a stronger individual here.
Clevon, stop it.
He's a stronger individual here in the heart than any of the three.
Nobody's listening. Nobody's listening to you right now. Nobody's listening to you.
They have to listen. Brooklyn did not take care of business. What happened, Cam? Oh man, whatever. Whatever happened, happened. We're here now, and it's 2-1.
So let's see what happens. They're inballing the ball. He comes to KD. KD throws up a prayer through. Ooh, off the back of the rim. Ooh, just off the back of the rim.
That's an L.
Oh my goodness.
It's L.
Oh my goodness.
So now they have to go back and talk about the L. Yeah.
What's today? Thursday. They'll show up Saturday, get there to get the W.
Will they?
Milwaukee has his only
you're not
one.
nearly as confident. When they're rolling, they're great, but now they're not rolling no more.
Look, your boy Giannis has to go sit down. Middleton's already sitting down on the bench. They're taking deep breaths. They can't believe what just happened.
Well, they won.
They can't believe that.
Just gives them a load of confidence.
When do you see players go sit down on the bench after they win a game? Usually they're high fiving. They go to the locker room and they're cheering.
There's some relief there. It wasn't supposed to happen.
No, they go to these guys are went and sat down on the bench. Like, oh my goodness, can you believe what just happened? Can you believe it? Like, dude, come on, these guys they're out of it. They win one game this series. They win one game. That's it. It's okay, KD. It's okay. It's okay, dude. It's okay. You can't hit them all. Can't hit them all.
See now, you know what KD's doing right now.
Look, the fans don't even want to leave the building. The fans are still in the fans are still in there in the building like they're in shock. No, everybody's in shock in Milwaukee. They're in complete and utter shock.
But you know what KD's doing right now.
KD's hot.
Oh no, he's going to his burner phone and he's going to his regular phone and he's looking at what people are saying about him. And he's got his burner phone hot, ready to come back at these fools. We're talking blasphemy about him. He got his burner phone out.
He's coming right at you too. He's coming right at you too.
I'm here. I'm here.
This nigga said he went to his burner phone. Oh my goodness. Okay, he's coming right at you too. Man, that was a cold one. That was a cold one. Oh boy. So we talked about the bubble. We talked about leadership, man. Went off track there, but I think it was a good conversation. So the Suns up 2-0. Do the Nuggets? You say that series over? It's a sweep. They don't. Over. Nuggets don't get one win with the league MVP. You don't get one win. League's MVP, Austin Rivers. As I
said, Cam, I think it's game 3 that they get. If they don't get game 3, they won't win a game. If they win a game, it will be game 3.
Okay. Talking about Portland Trailblazers, does Dame stay in Portland?
No.
He's gone.
He's gone.
He just signed a Supermax.
Sure did.
He's going to make 39 next year. 39 next year. I think it's 41 and then 42. Where's he going?
You know where he's going, Cam.
Don't say that.
I don't want to say. I don't want to tamper. I don't want to tamper. It's too early.
Don't say it. Not you.
Too early.
I
don't want to tamper, but you know where he's going, man. What would be the best? What would be the best for his music career? What would be the best for his professional NBA career? What would be the best place for him to go to be anointed as one of the
New York?
The kings with the rings?
New York? The Knicks? He's going to be a Knick?
Well, with Julius Randle and Derrick Rose as a supporting cast, not quite sure that's the best place for him.
I mean, one of those guys ain't going to be there. One of those guys ain't going to be there.
Okay, well, I mean, it doesn't matter if both of them are there. I mean, that's not a very good supporting cast with regards to trying to win a championship.
I mean, tell the people where you have him going. Let the people hear this. Hear this.
Cam, I don't want to tamper, but I know it's painfully obvious where he's going to end up. You just don't want to say it out loud because you realize the ramifications of what would happen if Logo Lillard ended up where you think he's going to end up.
I don't know.
I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I don't want to spoil it for everybody.
Is he going to go to Denver and play with Nikola Jokic?
No, they already have a point guard.
No, who's injured? So we're
but he'll be back.
We're not sure when he comes back.
No, he's not going to Denver.
I mean, I know a team in LA who could use a point
Okay,
guard.
so like I
The
said,
Los Angeles Clippers.
remember how I started this conversation out? What would be better for his music career, his brand, and his opportunity to be anointed, one of the kings with the rings? It wouldn't be in Denver.
He can come in. He can come in and play with Kawhi.
Because there's no music scene in Denver, Colorado, as you're well aware.
He can come play with Kawhi and PG and just kind of help that,
Really? They got salary cap for that?
Well, the Bomber, they got Bomber.
Oh yeah, I mean, if it was up to Bomber, yeah, sure, he would pay his salary out of his own pocketbook, but that's not how the rules work. So yeah, no.
I mean, well, who are you talking about? Because that other team in LA is already at 90 million.
For now, right now they are. I mean, from word on the street and from my sources, they're going to shed some payroll here pretty quickly, and quite a bit of it.
So let me get this straight. So you sign a sixth man of the year last season. You signed him in the off season, kind of an addition by subtraction, and he's already on the book. He's already on the plane out of here.
I mean, I didn't say that because I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to speculate with regards to where Logo Lillard might end up. I just put the scenario out there as to what would be the best for him going forward and what other opportunities may present themselves. But in your hypothetical, yes, Montrezl Harrell would be on his way out.
So there's no loyalty in with those guys in the purple and gold. You sign somebody and then the next year he's out of there.
Sometimes that happens. It's a cruel business, Cameron. It's a cruel business sometimes.
You guys try to shortchange the kid by offering the German point guard. You try to shortchange him and offer him 5 year for 84. He says no, and so he's not. All of a sudden, he's not a true Laker. Is that how that goes?
He's not a true Laker for many reasons. I mean, his personality, his demeanor, his play on the court. It was a confluence of events really that led to the Godfather saying that he's not going to be the guy. So
because he can't.
And the Godfather has Genie's ear, and once he had Genie's ear, you got Rob's ear. So I'm not really anticipating Dennis Schroeder being there next year.
Well, because he wants to spend time with his family, and they say somebody in the family come down with Kobe.
Because he's not a true Laker. So he's not a true purple and gold guy.
He has to spend 10 days in quarantine because he spent time with his family.
Hey man, he's not a true purple and gold guy. The Godfather said so.
The other guy who can go hang out with Drake and some movie stars, and there's no penalty at all. I
think it's already been established. If you're talking about LeBron James, that's somewhat facetiously and kind of back room style. I mean, that's LeBron. He's a Laker.
Ain't nobody. How did he become a Laker? How does he become a Laker?
By winning an NBA championship, the 17th NBA championship for the world champion Los Angeles Lakers. What do you mean? How do you become a Laker?
Oh my goodness gracious!
He's already been indoctrinated into the culture, Cam. He's a Laker.
Next topic. What do the Mavericks do? That's who can use them. That's who can use them. And down south, maybe they can start their own musical empire down in Dallas.
To be perfectly honest with you, he would be cold-blooded in Dallas, but he's not going there.
Him and Luka together, because
that would be too much.
Luka needs somebody to take the pressure off him, because you know what he does. He needs somebody to take that pressure off. So
the unicorn is not that dude. Logo Lillard would be fantastic in Dallas. He's not going there though.
Yeah, I don't know how if I'm taking CJ for the unicorn. I don't know if I'm making that deal. Like if I'm Portland, for example, the Dallas Mavericks will gladly make that deal. But if I'm Portland, I don't know if I'm taking dude makes $30 million and you get 12 points out of him. I don't know if I'm doing that deal. So we'll see where Dame goes, man. You got
we'll see where Dame ends up.
We'll see where he ends up. We'll talk about that a little later.
We'll talk about that down the road.
So let's before we end this segment, let's talk about this implosion we're seeing from the Boston Celtics. Ainge essentially quits his job, before he quit, he promotes Brad Stevens, and then he quits his job. And now they're looking for a coach. What happens here in the Celtics? Apparently, they're looking for another point guard as well. You know, they had Boys and Men come out of there. They had BVD come out of there. Maybe they need to get the point guard out there. They can make some noise. He can make some music in Boston.
Well, as we spoke before a few episodes ago, Cam, the best thing for the Boston Celtics would be to blow it up and start over by trading Jason Tatum to the Washington Wizards for Rui Hachimura, Bertans, and 5 first-round picks. See what they can do with that. And during that rebuilding process, hire Sam Cassell as the coach. Played for the Celtics. 2-time NBA championship, really understands the players, and has been a great assistant coach for many years now. So maybe it's time for him to get his opportunity. We'll see what they want to do with Kemba Walker. I don't think it's worked out quite the way that they had anticipated. So they have some things to consider over there. But, I mean, first and foremost, what are you going to do with Jason Tatum? Dude can go 50 a game in a playoff game. So
do you trade Tatum before you trade Brown? Why you trade Tatum first?
Most trade value, and you shed the most salary.
Donovan Mitchell, I think, has hit 3 3-pointers here in the first minute and a half of this basketball game. The Utah Jazz are up 10-2, and I know he hit 2. I think he hit the first one, but that's 6 unanswered points by Donovan Mitchell to take hold of this game here in Utah. Why you say send Jason Tatum to Washington for Hachimura and 5 picks and
Hachimura, Bertans, and 5 picks.
So you got Tatum, Westbrook, and Beal?
Yeah.
Well, they got a couple players down low. I mean, why not send Jason Brown, though? Why not get rid of him?
Because he's not what they need.
He's not what Washington needs?
Right.
Why would the Celtics trade him to Washington in the same division?
Because they're blowing it up. They're starting over. Brad Stevens has an opportunity to put his fingerprints all over the blueprint. He doesn't have to use the Danny Ainge model. He can do his own thing. And you just start over. You shed payroll. You get younger. You get leaner. You trust the process. You pull some players back.
Man, I like Hachimura.
Sure do.
You got a 3-point shooter. You get a 3-point shooter in that mix.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad. Yeah, that's not a bad look. But what do you do at the point guard position? What do you do at the point guard position?
If you're the Boston Celtics?
Yeah. Do you go back and try to get Scary Terry back on the squad?
Oh, maybe. I don't really think he's the answer. And, certainly we've seen what Kemba can bring to you. So, you shed that payroll as well, and you just start fresh, Cam. You just do what you can do.
Wow. So we're not going to see the Celtics in the playoff for a couple of years.
3 years, maybe. 3 to 4 years.
Essentially is what you're saying. Okay.
3 to 4 years.
Do you think the Grizzlies need anything other than experience, or what would you do with that roster?
There's nothing that you can do with that roster because they can't bring in free agents to solidify what it is that they need. So unfortunately, they have to go through the process of drafting players, hope they work out, hope they maturate at the rate that you need them to, and then go from there. Memphis is not a destination for NBA free agents, so this is the best that they can do.
Nobody wants to go play with Ja Morant?
Nope.
No? Mm-mm. One of the most exciting guards in the league?
He sure is.
No action.
Nope.
All right, but they made the playoffs, so maybe they
sure did.
Maybe they need a point guard, not a point guard. Excuse me. Maybe they need a shooting guard. Maybe they need a wing player, a more consistent wing player.
Oh, they certainly need that. Oh my gosh, wouldn't Michael Porter Jr. make them sensational? He's not going there.
Well, I don't think he's leaving Denver. Do you think?
Who knows?
Do you? Who knows?
I actually do think
Oh
he's
my
leaving.
goodness! Oh
But
boy! Oh
spoiler
my
alert,
goodness!
I
Oh
actually
my
do
goodness!
think he's leaving Denver, and here's
Oh my
why.
goodness!
Here's
Oh
why, Cam.
no! Come on!
Someone is willing to give him that max money,
Oh,
understanding how fragile he is, and Denver is not going to be willing to do it. They're not going to be willing to afford that.
who? Let me guess. Who's willing to take that opportunity?
I think he's going to.
Because the Clippers didn't do it. The
I
Clippers
didn't
didn't
say.
pick him.
I didn't say West Coast. Hear me
Okay.
out, Cam.
Okay.
I
I'm listening to you.
think he's probably headed towards the East Coast.
The Big Apple?
I didn't say that out loud.
Oh my goodness, this guy. Okay, so you got Denver breaking up that.
If they can hold, if they so choose to hold him within that rebuilding process, not even rebuilding because they got to the Western Conference Finals last year, but through the getting healthy process,
they can't let him
then
go.
that's great. But it's going to cost them like $30 million a year to do it, and I don't know if Denver is the market to be able to afford that.
They got enough dispensaries around town in Denver to kind of pay for that salary. They can't let him go. Like if they decided to let him go, yeah, they're going right back to the lottery. Even with the MVP, they can't let him go. That would be ridiculous. That would be ridiculous.
Okay.
Clevon, let's take a little break here. When we come back, man, again, we got some NBA or NFL topics to talk about. We're going to get also into Julio Jones made some noise this week. He went to a team. He went to go play with your guy. We know who all of a sudden your guy is. He went to go play with your guy, and I want to know. I want to ask you: does that change the fortunes for your guy and the Tennessee Titans? Well, let's talk about that on the backside. Let's take a little break here.
90 seconds, Cam. I'll be right back.
Yeah. You missed Big Zoo. Big Zoo giving the defensive player of the year a facial like he's at the haircut. What is it? Sports clips for men. He just gave him a facial like, ooh.
Well, I'm glad that he's there doing it in the absence of Serge Ibaka. So. Maybe if Serge was there, they'd be a little bit more formidable, but we'll see what happens here.
Man, Zoo, that was crazy.
Man, I hope they're able to get a split without Mike Conley Jr. playing any games.
I mean, you can look. It's all good. It's all good, man. You got to cut that out, okay?
No, I hope they're able to do that.
You got to cut that out, man. I know what you're trying to do.
What am I trying to do?
I know you're trying to speak ill of my team and trying to give them some bad juju.
No, what I'm trying to say is I hope they get a split without the other team starting their starting point guard.
But his point guard it hasn't been there all in a while.
Okay, well, whatever, man. Cool, whatever. You don't think they should get the split? Then that's fine.
Oh, they absolutely need to get the split. Again, they were a missed 3-pointer away from going into OT in the first game. So it's not like they got spanked, all right? It's not like they got waxed. All right, so fans, now let's go. We got some NBA topics, man. As I stated, Julio, we was asking last week what was the best fit for Julio. I thought the Seahawks needed to give him a call. They decided not to. I was thinking the Packers should have gave him a call. They decided not to. Julio decides to go to the Tennessee Titans. How better does this make the Titans?
Oh, much better. Anytime you bring a player of the caliber of Julio Jones into your organization, it instantly makes you better. And with a team that really struggled in the passing game, other than the intermediary routes, he definitely gives them that explosiveness on the edges, and they'll be better for it.
Well, what do you your guy, all of a sudden your guy is Ryan Tannehill now. I expect you to draft him in your fantasy football league this season.
Possibly.
Um, does he get better? Does he get better, or is that better for Ryan Tannehill, or is that better for Derrick Henry?
Oh, it's better for both. I mean, it opens up running lanes with Derrick Henry because you have to, you don't have that extra player that you were committing to Derrick Henry because they have to commit to Julio. Yeah, it makes Ryan Tannehill better because you give him an explosive weapon on the outside like a Julio Jones. So yeah, they'll be better.
Are they gonna be better in playoffs? Are they going to the AFC Championship, or do they win their division?
Well, 2 years ago they went to the AFC Championship. Unfortunately, they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, which there's no shame in that.
Can they beat the Chiefs? Can this team beat the Chiefs?
No, that wasn't really the question, though, was it? The question was whether they would be better.
Yeah.
So yes, they will be better.
Well,
yeah, you say Chiefs. I don't think so.
Okay, so they're still not good enough to win in the AFC, is what you're talking.
They're still not good enough to win the AFC.
Their quarterback is still not good enough to take lead into the Super Bowl with this assertion of a semblance of talent.
They have a much better chance. I mean, injury certainly plays a part. Scheduling certainly plays a part. Where you play your playoff game certainly plays a part.
So, my goodness.
Yeah, they put themselves in a better position to be, successful.
Okay, where the Clippers is really messed up now is they got Paul George, another brick. They got was the sixth man of the year. Now he's going between his legs. They're not playing on defense. Ty, Luke, call timeout, Ty. There you go, Ty. Cuss these guys out, Ty. They just let Donovan dribble right through the middle of the hole for an easy layup. They just allowed your boy, the sixth man of the year, go between his legs, around his back, step back for a three-pointer. And they're just not playing no great. Put these guys on their butt, man. Where it was 12-15. Now all of a sudden, what is it? I think it's 22-15, just like that. Yeah, they need to be more physical. He said that in the pregame, but we don't see their physicality. All right, sorry to change the topic. I just want to give you an update of what's going on in Utah. You say in all your infinite wisdom, the signing of Julio makes the Titans better. It helps Derrick Henry out. It makes the quarterback better, but yet and still they still won't win the AFC.
Correct.
Okay. Well, so ultimately it doesn't do anything. Okay, that's fair.
No, it puts them in a better opportunity if certain things break their way to be in a position to win the AFC. But as it looks right now, I don't see any other team in the AFC other than the Kansas City Chiefs representing the AFC in the Super Bowl.
All right, that's as of today, June, in the middle of June. We're gonna see if this
Correct.
changes.
Yes.
We're gonna see if this changes here in the next month or so.
As well, it should.
Does Aaron Rodgers play another down for the Packers?
No.
He's not going. If he's not going to play for the Packers, I think they'll kiss and make up. I think their best move was to sign Julio Jones and say, "Hey, dude, we're trying to put talent. We're trying to make it easier on you. We're trying to put talent around you." They chose not to. So, if he doesn't play in Green Bay, where does he play?
Denver sounds like the most likely destination at this point.
I heard about that, but is Denver better than Green Bay? Green Bay, you were in the NFC Championship last year, 9 plays away from going to a Super Bowl, or not even 9 plays, 9 yards from going to the Super Bowl. You're gonna go to Denver? You're gonna be 500?
It's principalities involved here, Cam.
It's the principalities involved in it, huh? Okay, wow. So in that, do you like what you heard from out of Love, out of Jordan Love?
Confidence. Yeah, he should have confidence. It clearly looks like he is going to have to be the guy sooner than later. Probably a lot sooner than he had anticipated. And man, if you're that dude, be that dude.
I mean, he got a year to sit down. So you say good luck. Don't sound like you have much confidence in him.
I mean, not really, but I mean, I'm glad that he has confidence in himself as well. You should when you're thrust in that type of situation. So hopefully he makes the most of it.
Okay. So who do you have starting for the Saints? Who should start for the New Orleans Saints at quarterback?
Taysom Hill.
Over Winston? Jameis Winston?
Yeah.
Are you saying he will start or he should start?
I'm saying he will start. Whether he should start or not, given what you really need from your quarterback, as opposed to a lot of gimmick plays and options, I think that Jameis Winston is certainly the better passer, but I don't think that he will start at quarterback.
Wow. So they're going to go to the bullpen. How soon, if you don't have him starting the game, how soon in the season does Jameis Winston start? Or let me put it like this. How many games does Jameis Winston start if you start the season with Taysom Hill?
If you start the season with Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston comes in for a relief appearance about week 6 or 7.
Okay. And does he finish the season? So you give him about 10 games.
We'll see how he does in his relief performance, and we'll see how the team feels about Taysom Hill and their offense, going forward after that. Let's not forget they do have Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. So, yeah,
right,
the quarterback is an important position. But let's also not forget that 2 years ago, Jameis Winston threw 30 interceptions.
That's okay. That's
okay. Never okay. There's nothing about throwing 30 interceptions that's ever okay.
You know what? I would have took 30 interceptions from Ryan Tannehill.
No, you would not have.
At least he's putting the ball.
No, you would not have.
At least
he's not taking 30 interceptions from anybody, which is why he is not in Tampa Bay right now.
So it looks like the Clippers just look like the Washington Generals out here against Utah Jazz.
That's not good.
Oh my goodness. 16-24, under 4 minutes to go in the game. I don't think I've seen Donovan Mitchell miss a shot yet. I don't think he's missed a shot.
Doing his best Kawhi Leonard impersonation.
He just missed a 3. He just missed a 3-pointer.
Oh, well,
that was his first miss of the game. And here's Kawhi going to the post. They got DeMarcus Cousins in the game in the first 15. And DeMarcus tried to dunk on him. DeMarcus tried to dunk from the dotted line. knowing he can get
ambitious.
Knowing he can barely get over a piece of paper, he tried to dunk from the dotted line. But they seem to be playing more aggressive. They put Beverly in the game. They put DeMarcus Cousins in the game. And what do you know? We have physicality from the Clippers. Now we have fans. We're going to get to our divisional predictions. It's that time again, Clevon. It's time to get down to our divisional predictions. That's going to start next week. So, in person, we're going to start breaking down our divisions. So we'll have them all broken down by the time the season starts, and we'll be able to give our fans a full prediction come week one of who our Super Bowl participants will be. So that'll start next week. Our divisional predictions, but Troy Vincent, I don't know if you saw this or not, and with it being Pride Month, Troy Vincent said the NFL is ready to support an openly gay player. Not so sure about that. Where Troy may want to say that maybe he's caught up in the moment in New York, and they just had the Pride Parade. I don't know what's going on, and he likes the colors, but I'm not so sure the NFL is ready to support that. What do you think?
Certainly is the politically correct thing to say, but it's not true.
Well, there you go. We agree there. So that's pretty odd that he would say that, and obviously the time speaks to why he would say that. But I totally disagree, and we'll see how this transpires, and we'll see if this ever catch any legs actually, because I think he's not being truthful with NFL fans, or maybe he stuck it in there late at about 5 p.m.
No,
Yesterday.
he completely 100% understands the demographic of the NFL fan, and he knows that that's not true. But he knows
All
that
right.
it's the right thing to say, and certainly start the conversation. But no one's doing that next year.
Yeah, it'll be wild. Kawhi Leonard goes to the hoop. Oh, misses the lay-in, but the Clippers it's a 3-point game right now. Let's see what the Clippers um, how they close this first quarter. Right now, it's a 3-point game, and the Clippers look like Pat Beverly, and bringing Boogie Cousins off the bench was a good move to start.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because they get another turnover on a fast break. Patrick Beverly, you got to pass it to Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi passes they get a steal. It's a 2-on-1. Passes to Pat Beverly. He's going down the court, and he decides to go in for a lay-in instead of get the ball to Kawhi Leonard. And he gets fouled. Is he going to the free throw line? And yeah, Pat, you have to get that ball back to Kawhi Leonard. Although he is going to the free throw line, you give it to Kawhi Leonard, it's a dunk right there. But again, he goes to the free throw line. Let's see if he makes his free throws. Fans just kind of giving you up to date. I know Clevon's and he misses a fucking free throw. I know Clevon is concerned about what's going to happen in the series, and he itching to get to the tube to watch it. Clevon, what's that?
I said pretty much indifferent. If the almost said the Lakers.
I heard you.
If the
I heard
Clippers
you.
get the split, great. If they don't, shame on them. That's all I got to think about it.
So he makes one of the free throws. So as bad as this first quarter was, it's a 2-point game here with just under 2 minutes to go. With as hot as Donovan Mitchell, I'd like to see what Donovan Mitchell's numbers were in that first quarter, because I only saw one miss, and so we'll see how things transpire. Clevon, let's take a little break here. As we take a little break, stats. Let's see where we got been. Donovan Mitchell leads all scorers 6 for 9, 2 from 4 at the 3-point line with 14 points in the first quarter.
It just seemed like he couldn't miss, huh?
Man, it seemed like he couldn't miss. 2 for 9, yeah, he's killing. And again, it's a 4-point game with seconds to go. Oh, Batum got fouled shooting a 3-pointer, so let's see what's going on here.
Bonjour.
All right, fans, here we go. As always, fans, we give you the most exciting segment, one of the most exciting segments of the show. Most educational segment of the show by far is when we have this week in history. So we talk about what things happen in history, give you some little sports knowledge and just some culture knowledge. Richard Allen founded the Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Philadelphia back in 1794, June 10th, 1794. June 8th, 1892, Homer Plessy refused to move to a segregated railroad coach in New Orleans, initiating the Plessy versus Ferguson 1892. So we never heard about that. He never refused. He never moved. Uh, that's something we never heard of. I never heard about Clevon. Is Plessy refusing to get off of the segregated railroad coach in 1892? So way years before Rosa Parks and started the civil rights movement. Before she decided to not move from her, go to the back of the bus. We have Homer Plessy refusing to move from the segregated railroad coach to let some other people where he wasn't supposed to be considering those times. This was in New Orleans back in 1892. Cleveland, 6/12/1983. Medgar Evers, I'm sure you're familiar with that name there, civil rights activist, was assassinated on June 12th, 1963. In 1864, Congress ruled that black soldiers must receive equal pay. So it tells you, man, they were getting paid peanuts as opposed to their white counterparts. But in 1864, Congress finally ruled that they ought to receive equal pay. Funny how to take some kind of court ruling for that to happen. In 1989, June 10th, 1989, we had Wayne Gretzky received his NHL, I should say, MVP award for the 9th time. 9 of them. That's ridiculous. 9 MVPs, big dog. Wayne Gretzky, really, was the king of the ice, right?
Yeah, the great one.
So 26 seconds look like the Utah Jazz are playing for the final shot here. And what are they doing here? They pass it out to Ingles, who shoots and makes a three. 15 seconds on the clock. The Jazz go up 30-26. Paul George is bringing it up court, playing for the last shot. 6 seconds to go. He's at the top of the key. What you gonna do? He's driving down the lane, kicks out to Luke Kennard, who makes a three. It wasn't in time. They counted it 29-30. Luke Kennard makes he made an appearance last game, was hitting some buckets. Paul George kicks it out. Did it count? It's out of his hands before it goes. As the ball goes into the bucket, as the buzzer sounds. Luke Kennard brings the game to a 1-point game. All of that noise that Utah was making it to a 1-point game right now. Cleveland, last segment of the show. So we got some. I'm gonna let you go here. I'm just gonna ask one question. Let me get back and get comfortable. Hear this. Hear how this is gonna go. Cleveland. We talking about the Lakers losing. They're getting dusted off by the Phoenix Suns. Who do you have coming to LA? Do you have Devin Booker coming to LA like Stephen A. Smith was talking about?
It won't be Devin Booker.
Are you going after Ja Morant?
It won't be Ja Morant.
You talking about Jason Tatum on the trade blocks? Do you go after Jason Tatum?
Jason Tatum is going to, hopefully will be going to the Washington Wizards. He's not coming out west.
Instead of drafting Lonzo, you could have had Tatum. You know that, right? You could have had Tatum out here putting up 50 points in the playoffs.
That was the Markelle Fultz Jason Tatum draft. That wasn't the same one. So no,
sure?
That wasn't. Yeah, I'm quite sure that wasn't a possibility.
Okay. What about Luka? Luka needs some help.
Luka's not coming to LA.
Do you guys send for Luka?
Nope.
Bradley Beal is he happy?
Bradley Beal is cool in DC. He likes it over there on the East Coast. He's cool.
You sure?
Sure.
Damian Lillard. It was Marco Fultz went number 1, Lonzo Ball went number 2, Jason Tatum went number 3. Josh Jackson, De'Aaron Fox, Jonathan Isaac, Lauri Markkanen, Frank Ntilikina, Dennis Smith Jr. Yeah, they could have had Jason Tatum instead of Lonzo
that's
Ball.
in the past. That's in the past. I'm sorry. What was it? What was the other question you asked me prior to that?
Dame Lillard, does he go to Los Angeles Lakers?
Does he?
I mean, why would he want to leave Portland? He's the king of Portland.
I mean, again, the aforementioned things that I said before, he could further his music career. He could further his brand. He could join the distinguished colleagues that are,
Damon said
rings.
Damon said year after year, he's not ring chasing. He wants to,
absolutely he is not. Absolutely he is not, Cam. And he's not one of those guys that wants to move around just to,
right.
further his opportunity to win a ring. He's not going to be 14 years into his career just going with somebody just to be a part of that.
Right.
But at the same time, he's seen the Kevin Garnett story, and he knows when it's time to go. And it's time to go.
Now they just fired the coach. They fired Terry Stotts.
Sure did.
And they just asked him. They went to him, Dame, who do you want to coach the team? It was Jason. First it was Jason Kidd.
He said no.
He's Chauncey Billups. Now we're gonna get somebody in here.
That's great. I mean, that's cool that you got your homie, like coaching you guys, but he realizes that it's not enough there in Portland, and they can't put together enough in time. His career is wasting away. It's time to do something different. It's time to do what's best for Dame Dollar. It's time to do what's best for Logo Lillard.
Oh, they're cheating. They're cheating in Utah. They're cheating in Utah. DeMarcus Cousins gets the ball, goes down low. He's working his magic in the post. The Stifle Tower takes a shoulder to the chest and goes flying against the boards. DeMarcus Cousins pump fakes and then goes up and shoots the ball, and they call a foul on DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, he's a defensive player of the year. He's not the actor of the year. Like, he didn't win Best Picture. Like, come on, refs, get with it. Get with it. And they're still not calling a foul. There's no Lakers can't get, or the Clippers can't get one foul call tonight. The Clippers can't get one foul call tonight. Nick Batum gets a steal, drives a bucket, goes to the rim, and clearly gets hacks. And then your sixth man of the year can't miss. Jordan Clarkson he gets the ball, he can't miss. Chris Paul, I'm sorry, Paul George gets the ball in the middle of the rim, and he's not even looking for a shot now. He's not even looking for it.
Don't understand it.
Yeah, man. All right, so we talked. You say you got Dame Lillard going to the Los Angeles Lakers.
I didn't say that. I'm not trying to tamper, Cam. I'm not trying to throw rumors out there. I'm just saying.
What you saying? Say it. If you mean it, say it. That's what I'm saying.
I think that is the most logical landing spot for Logo Lillard. My sources tell me that things are kind of in motion behind the scenes, but it's too early. It's too early for me to really, come full circle with all that. But
with the 4-year deal, and he's gonna be making nearly $40 million on his contract. I think I'm interested to know how the Lakers are going to fit that under their salary cap.
It's very easy. They have a lot of salary that's going to be coming off the books this year, and there's also going to be a little bit of renegotiation on the back end from a few key players.
You have a couple players. You hit another missed 3-pointer by Paul George. You have a few key players who aren't going anywhere. You have that number 3 guy who's making 30 million. You're gonna have that number. I mean, I don't know what number he's wearing this year. Number
6,
23, number 6. I don't know what
6.
number that
It's
guy's wearing.
6.
He's
It's
gonna be
6.
making. He's gonna be making close to 40. Yeah, Montrez already on the books. He's making. He's gonna make 10.
Cam, there are some things you don't need to be an accountant right now. Okay, there
I'm
going to
just
be some
saying.
things that can. I know what you're saying. I know where you're trying to go with that. I'm just saying don't try and be the Lakers accountant right now. There are some things that can be worked out, and some accommodations that can be made,
Oh,
and some changes to some of the current salary that is going out going
is K
forward if
is
they were able to
KCP
acquire
is
a
is
player
KCP
of the
gonna be on your team?
caliber of
Is
Damian Lillard.
is KCP gonna be on your team?
Man, he's one of the he's
KC
one of the
make it.
homies. He's one of the
He
Clutch
he.
Sports
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
athletes.
So let's not. We don't think
We'll
he's gonna be
see. I
anywhere.
mean, everything has to be discussed. For the opportunity to land logo Lillard, I mean, he might just have to take one for the team. I'm not sure. We haven't
But
talked about it, fully just yet.
he took one for the team in 2 years. For 2 years, just to get the Clutch Sports in the door. I don't know if you acknowledge that or familiar with that. But
As I recall, Contavious Caldwell Pope was on house arrest. Couldn't even leave the area. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? They're
again.
lucky they brought him back, given all the off the field incidents that he was having,
Oh
off the
wow.
court incidents, I
Oh
should
wow.
say.
So now
You
you're
know what I'm
gonna.
saying?
So that was like 4 years ago.
They
So
did him a solid.
now you're gonna turn around and bring his character up
I'm just saying.
in the
I mean, look,
contract
they
negotiations.
stuck by
Ain't that
him.
nothing?
They
Ain't this
stuck
nothing?
by him. He got a
Ain't this?
championship. They
Oh,
stuck by him a year again. Paid him tens
wow!
of millions of dollars. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Come on,
Is
take
he
your
a company
championship.
guy? If he's a
Take
company guy, maybe. I mean, hey, man,
take
see
your
what the Pacific
championship.
Northwest is like for a year or two.
Take your
Hopefully, we can
company.
bring him back.
Oh, ain't that nothing? Ain't that nothing? Take your championship and look at your gold rings. Is that what you're telling them? Just enjoy your gold rings, man. Ain't that something?
Understand the process. Understand it's not all about
Oh
you all
my!
the
Oh
time.
my goodness
I'm
gracious!
just saying, are you part of this or not part of this? Are
Oh
you
my
part of this
goodness!
movement or not part of this movement?
Clearly, you
You know what
trying
I'm
to kick
saying?
him out the door. Like,
I
what is
didn't
he?
say that. I don't know what it's going to come to, Cam. We don't know the parameters of the negotiations of what's going to bring Lolo Liggard to
Oh,
Staples Center.
this is crazy. So the guys who've been loyal to you, the guys who's got kind of grease his skids and let Clutch Sports get in the door. He signed an initial contract. Hey, let's see. If you act good and you do well, that'll help everybody else. So he's the first guy in the door, and then he's gonna be the first guy out the door.
I
Is what
didn't
you're
say
saying?
that, Cam. I didn't
That's what it
say
sounds
that.
like.
I am
That's what it
just
sounds like.
saying that if he is one of the pieces that has to be involved in some type of transaction that ultimately ends up with Damian Lillard, logo Lillard,
Oh,
Dame Dollar being in purple and gold, then he
so be
my
it.
understanding that he's more than willing to sacrifice that
Oh, he's want to do that voluntarily.
for the greater
He
good
he
of the organization, of
voluntarily
both
wants to.
organizations, not
He
just Clutch Sports, but also the Laker organization. He
he
understands his role in all
he
this.
voluntarily wants to leave Beverly Hills to go to Portland. Is this what you're saying? Is this what you're trying to
Portland's a
say?
great area. Portland's a
It,
great
it,
area, all
it's,
inclusive.
it's not Beverly Hills. Let me tell you. It's not Beverly Hills, bro. Okay, it's a
It's
little. It gets a
Portland
little.
has its amenities though
It has.
that maybe Contavious Caldwell Pope will appreciate more. I
You
don't
know
know what the
what?
situation is.
To be honest with you, yeah, I've seen Caldwell Pope out a few times, and he does have. He does like to snow a little bit. He does.
Okay.
And we'll
Well,
leave
there
it
you
there.
have it.
We'll
Well,
leave
then
it.
Portland, Oregon is the
We'll leave it
perfect
there.
place for him, isn't it?
That would now that you bring that up.
Well, then he might not be so opposed to the transition that we're talking about,
Well,
Cam.
my goodness. All right, let's get off this topic. You try to talk me into this. Um, Mayweather-Paul this weekend. Did you watch?
No,
You didn't tune into it. You didn't tune in to see
no.
Chad Ochocinco
For
get in the ring.
$75, no.
I mean, your friend didn't have it on. You didn't go
Nope.
nowhere to watch it.
Nobody had the stick. No, yeah, none of that. No.
Okay, so it was a dance fest for the went the distance. But you didn't want to see Chad Ochocinco? You didn't watch that to see what happened? What he was doing in the ring? Wow. I mean, he held his own. He held his own for 3 to 4 rounds until he got dropped in the 4th round. It was pretty interesting. We got Manny Pacquiao making his ring return, likely be his last fight against Errol Spence in August. You interested in? Can we interest you in that fight?
No, not really. I assume Errol Spence will win unanimously and in convincing fashion. If Manny Pacquiao does anything, shame on Errol Spence Jr.
That's yeah. I mean, you have that correct. You have that correct. So let's get to a topic that you do like. NCAA college football. 12 team. What do you think about the 12-team tournament? 6 conference champs, 6 at-large teams. And
just trying to make it more interesting, just trying to entice fans, just trying to give fans more hope. No, they're good with the number they have, man.
But they say in this format, 6 of the at-large teams can be from any division. There's no limit on.
So what, man?
There's no
No,
limit
they do a great job of picking the teams that are supposed to be there. Every once in a while, maybe 1 or 2 teams gets kind of snubbed, but not 6 teams. No.
So you're not a fan of the 12-game playoff.
No.
Added 3 more weeks to the college football season.
Waste of time.
Interesting. Okay. Did you watch any of the women's college World Series?
Little bit. My Huskies were there for a minute. Got kind of roughed up by Oklahoma, who ultimately ended up winning the national championship. So yeah, I saw a few fast pitches. Yeah.
Okay. What do you is that women's fastball? I'm gonna have to admit, women's softball down in the South, man, they play sports year round, and they have tournaments like every other weekend. Women's softball from middle school to high school to college. Like these girls really play. They're not. It's not a seasonal game like you may think it is. It's a year round event that they really take it seriously. Did you enjoy the women's softball? What you think about that?
I do. I always like kind of like the intensity of especially the women's college World Series, so to speak, and just kind of seeing the differences in the game and pitchers changing speeds and location, and it's really just all about contact. And once you make contact, I mean that ball is gonna go. But it's interesting to kind of watch the strategy and how it all unfolds and. Who the great players are and what they're able to do. Sports is sports.
Okay, yeah, I think I like it being competitive. It's always interesting to see them play and be competitive. So kudos to them for getting out there. I think it's Oklahoma won it all, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So kudos to them. So let me ask you something about a sport you do like. You have affinity for Naomi Osaka. We didn't talk about this last week, but she decided to first she said she wasn't doing the press conferences. She didn't want to talk. And then when they find her, 15 grand, she says, okay, well, I'm just not going to play the French Open. Bigger loss for Naomi Osaka or the French Open? And then what do you think about her sitting out, the number 1 tennis player in the world, just sitting out the French Open?
Couple of things about the Naomi Osaka situation. First and foremost, they fined her for not talking to the media, but then they said that there would be further disciplinary action at this tournament and other tournaments if she didn't speak to the media. So it was a situation where they were trying to put undue pressure upon her to speak to the media in a not so nice kind of a way. Probably not fully understanding what she was going through with regards to her mental depression after her victory over Serena Williams at the U.S. Open, and just how it's kind of progressed, and how her inability to effectively communicate with the media has kind of taken a toll on her. Since then, the other Grand Slam tournaments have addressed situation with regards to how to handle it going forward. So hopefully something positive comes out of it. And she has also pulled out of the first tune-up to Wimbledon, which is just a few weeks coming up. So that's kind of a concern with regards to why she's not playing that tune-up tournament for a Grand Slam. So that, leaves the question as to whether she has a right to decide that she's not going to talk to the media. As I have been kind of looking at the whole situation from afar, going back and forth, I feel for her as a person with regards to what she's going through emotionally. But when you're in that situation and you're in that position, talking to the media is part of your job. So there's no way that you can just say, oh, this player just can't, doesn't have to talk to the media because she doesn't like to, and she's shy and she gets nervous or whatever anxiety comes about because of it. That is part of being a champion at that level. She's a 4-time Grand Slam champion. So to just say that she just doesn't have to talk to the media is crazy. But at the same time, to be unsympathetic to what she's going through would also be crazy. So it puts everyone in the world of tennis in a very precarious situation because they don't really know how to deal with it or what's the best way to deal with it. There is no precedence for it, but you can't have one of your top 4 players in the world just not talking to the media, and you can't have one of your top 4 players in the world not coming to major Grand Slam tournaments because they don't want to talk to the media. So they have to figure this out quickly. I don't know what the solution is, but hopefully they come up with something very soon.
Wow, I'd agree. They can't have her not talking, and they kind of think, as you just stated, they need to figure it out because media commitment. I do agree. The media commitment is part of the game. It's part of why you make millions of dollars per event, especially these Grand Slam events, and it's part of her being part of the draw. Like, I don't want to say they should waive her. They should waive that fine, but I don't think they should be so. And we'll use the example as we talked about earlier, where LeBron James didn't get fined, admonished, slapped on the wrists. I don't even think Adam Silver picked up the phone when he saw the pictures of LeBron out with Drake and Michael B. Jordan. I don't think Adam Silver even picked up the phone. He probably sent him a text, dude, what are you doing, man? Go back home. Go home as quickly as you can. And that was about it. And I think that probably should be the way that women's tennis should be handling the situation with Naomi Osaka. Like, okay, we can let you get away with it this time, but this can't be every slam.
Yeah, and I think
Issue.
that's part of the problem is that they were trying to set this precedence like, okay, well, if you're not going to talk to the media, it's going to get progressively worse for you. We're starting out with this, and then the fines and the penalties are just going to get progressively worse.
Yeah, I think
thinking that it was going to be a
that's where the
deterrent
mistake.
to her not talking to the media, and it did the absolute opposite,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
set this thing into complete.
Yeah, I think that was their mistake. Is that kind of that initial? Okay, well, if you don't do it this time, here's what you can look forward to. I think that was the wrong way to handle it. But I think, and maybe because she wasn't Serena, because she doesn't have the years on the earth that Serena has. They thought, okay, well, we can maybe bully her into, showing up and talking.
Set some kind of precedent so that you
Yeah,
don't think that you can just not talk to the media, and it just went completely the other
because
direction.
although Serena's in the back end of her career, I don't think they pull this with Serena. Or
The athlete of the decade, yeah, I seriously doubt that.
I don't think they pulled out with Serena. Or Serena, gets up there, either has a short press conference, or she tells them what she thinks about the process. Like, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like that, but they're not gonna take the mic from Serena, and they're not gonna kind of treat her like you must be up here or else. So it's just kudos for Naomi for standing up. I just kind of find it odd, and I don't want to talk about discount mental her mental health at all, but I mean that just kind of came out of nowhere all of a sudden, didn't it? Where she was last season, she was a loudspeaker, and then that I don't want to say it's a problem I have with her, but it's the problem I have with the scenario is she was so boisterous, so well spoken, so outspoken about issues last season versus this season. Just to say you're not going to talk because of mental issues, it just it didn't equate. I can say that. Let me say that. I just didn't think they totally equate. Um, and but then I can see her response to what they what their response was. I understand where that's coming from, but her initial I don't want to talk. It just didn't, it just seemed odd to me because this wasn't her first time on the scene, and she has been well spoken, outspoken in the past. To just say all of a sudden I'm going to be quiet, it just didn't. Something doesn't add up. Would you agree with that or not?
I think that she has definitely picked her moments with regards to be outspoken, and they were typically issues that were, near and dear to her heart. And I think that she's definitely been a role model and example with regards to kind of champion the idea of Black Lives Matter and a lot of other social issues. She's made a lot of sacrifices. She's pulled out of some tournaments in protest and boycott to some of the things that are happening out here. But those weren't not necessarily vocal demonstrations. They were more just kind of with actions. But like you're saying, it does seem kind of strange that given the fact that she has been in the public eye for quite some time now, that it all kind of came to a head at the French Open with regards to just not wanting to talk, and then basically giving her an ultimatum and her saying, okay, well, then I just won't play, is a little bit concerning on that level. But like you're saying, yeah, it is kind of out of, I don't want to say out of nowhere, because I don't really know her that well, obviously, and what is this she's going through. But at the same time, it just seems like she had the ability to handling the media better previously than it seems like she has at present.
Yeah, that's my only qualm with the issue is it just seemed to kind of come out of nowhere. Um, but as you stated, we don't know her situation. We don't know how good or bad it's been for her. So I wish her the best. But hopefully they get it situated and they do find kind of way to they do find a way to kind of make it work, make the situation work for itself. Clevon, what do you think? What is the vibe of the in Seattle about the Kraken? The hockey season coming to an end here. Next season, the Kraken will be playing full time in the arena down there. What's the name of the arena? I'm just going to call it the Seattle Center Coliseum. I don't know what else to call it other than that. But what's the vibe of the Kraken? What's the word out there?
The vibe is tremendous, Cam. They cannot wait for this season to unveil the inaugural season of the Kraken. It is at a high fever pitch. You would think it was the Montreal Canadiens or the Boston Bruins or the Chicago Blackhawks up here. They're that serious about it. So once this thing kicks off, it's going to be full throttle.
Okay. All right. Cool. Clevon, let's end it there. Thank you for your time, and as always for participating with the show. I want to leave the fans with this quote here. I have a 3-part quote. We always want to inspire our people, inspire our fans, give them something to think about as we do with this week in history. The whole show, I think, is a kind of a thoughtful attempt at sports commentary, sports banter. Clevon comes up with his predictions. I'm not sure where you're coming up with Dame Lillard is going to be part of the Lakers.
Factual.
Hopefully, you explain that to us sooner than later. But
It's all gonna come out shortly. But okay.
um, fans, as always, want to thank you guys for being part of the show. Appreciate Clevon for doing what he's done for the show. But I'm gonna end it, before we go. I'm gonna end it with this quote here: "Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success." So I want to thank you, Clevon, for working with me. Fans, thank you for working with us and being part of the show for so long. Um, and as always, we just want to give you guys some drop some knowledge with you guys. Fans, please go mash that subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube. Shout out to the guys at HNB Media. We didn't talk about them earlier. But if you're watching this on YouTube via HNB Media, hit that subscribe button, give us a like, give us a comment, let us know what you think of the show. If you're watching this on the Voice of the Fans on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, let us know what you think of the show. If you're listening to us on Spotify, Tuned In, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, however you're choosing to listen to us, whether you're working out, whether you're on your way to work, whether you're at work, you're killing time, you're doing your grocery shopping, whatever you're doing, we thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Just rate and review our podcast. We appreciate it. It helps us with the algorithm. And as always, fans, thank you for making our voice your choice. Clevon, thank you for your time, big guy. Have a good week, man. Fans, next week we will be live. We will be live. We're going to send some information out this week, Clevon, to get where we're going to be. I'm thinking likely it's going to be Daniels, Broiler, and Leshai. We're going to be live next week doing a show in person. So that'll be pretty dope. It'll be our first live show on YouTube. It'll be our second live show. We did it recorded before, but it'll be our first live show on YouTube. So, fans, we're going to send you some information. Clevon, how can they find you?
At Clevy Wonder on Twitter, Cam, and Clevon Steele on Instagram.
And I am at What's Good in Sport, the letter N, Sport Singular on Twitter. Voice of Fans on Instagram. So we'll be sending us some information out within the next day or so of where we're going to be, when we're going to be there. We're going to be live in Seattle, Washington, to do our first live broadcast on YouTube. Clevon, thank you for your time. Thank you for your participation. Look forward to working with you next week.
Right on, bro. Can't wait to see you.
Have a good one.
Take it easy.